Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Fly Like an Eagle podcast. I'm here. I'm Kyle. That's Scott. We're here every single Friday. This week at a special time, 2:46. We're usually here at what,
12.
2:30. Well, this isn't 12, it's 12:46. So we're here at a really special time. We'll be here for about 45 minutes to 50 minutes, depending on how our things go about the day. But yeah, we're here to talk to you about some important topics regarding the Eagles. Obviously, every single week we're going to be the best show here. Without further ado, what is up, Scotty?
What's going on, Kyle? I'm doing very well. Like you said, we definitely are starting a little bit later on today, but sometimes that happens. You have to be adaptable, especially with the summer. People got lives, responsibilities, what have you, whatnot. But we're always going to be here to bring you the latest Eagles news. We're also going to touch on a couple of NFL general topics today. I know Kyle wants us to start off with Howard Eskin and his recent comments on Jalen Hurts. We're also going to discuss Kellen Moore. Is he potentially in the wings waiting to become the Eagles' next head coach? Which Eagles player has improved the most from 2023, or which player will bounce back from 2023? We're also going to discuss the something that the NFL owners have reportedly been discussing. And then we're going to get into Chris Sims' 40 top quarterback rankings just a tiny bit. So that's a little bit of a rundown of the show. And without further ado, I know Kyle's going to lead us off. So, Kyle, take it away.
That was great, Scotty. Thanks for holding it down while I did my stuff on the other end for that minute. But yeah. So I'm gonna get right into it. Howard Eskin of WIP 94 WIP Sports Talk Radio 94 WIP said that if Jalen Hurts doesn't have a good year this year, they're ready to quote unquote Carson Wentz him. Now, what that means is get him the fuck out of here. That's what it means in a nicer term. We all know Carson Wentz helped the Eagles get to the promised land. I mean, I don't agree with that, but other people will show for Carson from this day to the next day to next year, whatever. I don't really care. I don't really like Carson Wentz, but that's nor here nor there. If Jalen Hurts doesn't have a good year for the Philadelphia Eagles this year, he's gone out of here. That's why everything is backloaded on his contract. Howie Roseman's smarter than I thought he was. And yeah, I think that Jalen Hurts has all of the assets. I think he has what it takes to get it done this year. He doesn't have to do much, like I say, week in and week out on this team. So he really has to step it up. He has to take it seriously. We're paying him a lot of money to do so, and he needs to be a leader. I don't care if you dislike the coach. I don't care if you dislike the owner. I don't care if you even dislike your own teammates. Get the job done. Do your job. You're getting paid a lot of money that people will not see in their life or generations of their life. So you have to do your job, get to it, get it stepping, and let's go win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, so I know we're touching basically what Howard Eskin said about Jalen Hurts' performance next year.
Mm.
So I've been reading a couple articles as you were talking. I think maybe Howard put his foot in his mouth a little bit, if that makes sense. I think it was just a general statement. The Eagles, if Hurts doesn't perform up to standards or what they want him to do, they're going to try and move on and look for somebody else because they really don't waste time. They move quickly. The
Hmm.
only comparison with Carson Wentz is they both have similar contracts, the two richest contracts in Eagles history. I mean, let's be honest. Those are the
Yeah.
two highest paid players ever the Eagles have ever paid. So that's where I think Howard made the comparison. But again, I think this is more of just like a clickbait thing because it's just like what the Eagles do. If someone's not performing well, they don't waste time. Um, and that's pretty much what Howard said. He pretty much just said Carson Wentz was the first person to come to his head. So maybe he's just like backtracking a little bit. But I also
Hmm.
think it was just said, for attention and clickbait. Like, do you agree with that, or do you think there's more? Does he have any insider truth to it?
So if there's one person I'll trust with for the Philadelphia Eagles and insiders alone, it would be Howard Eskin. A lot of people don't like him because he comes off as a pompous asshole, but there's a reason why this guy has a Super Bowl ring covering the Philadelphia Eagles. Like they legit gave him a team ring because he covers them as an insider. The guy is really good at his job. 95 of what he said is correct or becomes correct. So I'm not disagreeing with what he said. I don't think it's clickbait at all. I think if Jalen Hurts has a year like he did last year, they're gonna cut their losses. You know, he had that phenomenal year in 2022, but last year
But again,
showed
like,
more.
well, what, like he was. So you're saying he was bad last year?
Oh, he was horrendous last year. Like, I'll count the first 11 weeks of the season as adequate, maybe good, but the last six to
Yeah, he
seven
was.
games
He
of
was
that,
definitely good. He was definitely good in that Bills game. That's
yeah, he was
sure.
good. He
Right.
he led us to the promised land. He took the ball by himself and won the game. I'll give him credit for that one. But when it comes to the stretch where we needed him the most to be a leader when the team was falling apart, I think he failed at doing that job. And that's something that you have to look at going into this year because it's not starting off on the right foot with all of the Nick Sirianni comments. And it's a big problem. Like a lot of people say, you can't really go off of words. Well, in today's society, you can because in today's society, 2024, people are the most offended off of words. You know, they can't take it well. It doesn't go in one ear and out the other. They absorb it. They remember it, and I think that's something we have to look at going into this season, especially because I'm not going to say that Kenny Pickett's going to take over from Jalen Hurts for Jalen Hurts this year. I'm not going to go that far, but there is a reason why they traded for the guy. They traded for Kenny Pickett, who was a first round pick 2 years ago. He's 11-8 with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not a great team at all, and he has both quarterbacks have the most talent they've ever had on a team during their time in the NFL. So if Jalen Hurts doesn't play well, he could be an option. And it could be another one of those things where Jalen Hurts goes out, Kenny Pickett plays well, just like Jalen Hurts did for Carson Wentz in 2020. And then they ship Jalen Hurts somewhere that they're not going to touch him. Well, he's not going to touch them. And then you play Kenny Pickett. He plays well one year, and then he sucks for the rest of his career. It's like a never-ending carousel of suck when it comes to this quarterback position. And I just don't, I don't know. I mean, why does it always have to attack this franchise? You know,
I'm so confused. How is it a never-ending carousel of suck when they've won? They've been to 2 Super Bowls since 2017.
because there's no consistency. You look at the Green Bay Packers; they had
Yeah,
back to back
it's not suck. You want to be an elite franchise. You want to
with
be an
quarterbacks.
elite. Yeah,
Correct. Correct.
yeah. But
Like
I know
Brett.
in your mind, but I guess in your mind, either you're elite or you suck, right?
Yes. I think no. Like, listen, we're definitely not like the Las Vegas Raiders when it comes to the quarterback position. They're still looking for their quarterback,
The Cleveland
but
Browns, right?
the Cleveland Browns are still looking for their quarterback. But the problem with us is we never have longevity at the position. Like we'll have a quarterback look like an MVP candidate for 2 to 3 years,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah, we
even
know.
one
It's
year.
been since McNabb, yeah.
Yeah, McNabb is still the best quarterback in franchise history, in my opinion.
But I mean,
But
he's also for longevity and playing more than 3 seasons or
yeah,
four or
he was
whatever.
here for a long time. I mean, he was here for what, 12 seasons, 11 seasons, like consistently. And that's
Yeah, nine.
something,
What was it? It was I don't know, 10. Yeah, 99 to 09.
and that's something that we thought we had in Vic. We thought we had in Wentz. We think we have in Jalen Hurts. But as we know,
We thought we had in Foles. No,
um, I did. A lot of people didn't. But I thought
after
we did have it in
after
Foles.
2013, no one thought.
After 2013, I definitely thought. I still think we shouldn't have traded him after the Super Bowl. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I mean,
So
I'm
yeah,
speaking for.
ride it till the wheels fall off, right?
Yeah, I'm speaking for
But
the franchise.
would that have hurt his legacy
Right into the wheels fall off?
with Foles?
No, because he won a Super Bowl.
But what if they went like 4-12 with him as the starter?
They would have never went 4-12 with him as a starter. He was a pure winner. He had all
But
the
he's
talent
never
in the
but,
world.
but he's never won any like his but he's gone other places and he hasn't won. So like event, you know what I mean? Like it's good
Yeah,
to have the mystique of him in that playoff run
yeah.
and other games. But I'm saying if he would have done another 16, 17 game season and they finish 5-11, 6-10, and he throws 25 picks that year, will that hurt his legacy at all? Or
Nope.
as an Eagle?
It would never hurt his legacy. And I'm going to tell you something right now. There's a reason why the New York Giants fans worship Eli Manning. Was he the greatest quarterback ever? No. Was he the coolest to look at? No. But at the end of the day, he played every single game throughout his Giants tenure. He was never injured. The only time he got benched was for Geno Smith because the coach was being an asshole. He won them 2 Super Bowls, looked great in the playoffs, and you could always count on him. That's why they loved him. Now, Nick Foles, I could compare to him without the healthy history. The only reason why Nick Foles got traded for Sam Bradford in the first place is because he was always getting hurt. And that you can't have with a quarterback. If he never got hurt, I think he would have been here for 8 to 9 years personally.
So
Nick,
yeah, so Chip trades for a guy that's how many torn ACLs and blown out how many knees in Sam Bradford, right?
I don't know what he was thinking, honestly. I really don't. At the end of the day, I was trying to con myself into thinking it was a good move because Sam Bradford had some accuracy, but
Yeah,
we all know.
I liked that move at first too, actually.
Yeah, I conned myself into it. I didn't really like it, but I forced myself to like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like well, obviously Eli has two, so that makes a big difference. And obviously for all the negativity about Eli, the Giants did have longevity with him. And like that makes him more like nostalgic or memorable or rose-colored glasses type thing with him.
Yeah.
Foles, he played I don't even he never played one full season. He never started all the games, I
Nope.
don't think.
I mean, he played
So
for the Rams. He got hurt. He played for Jacksonville. He got hurt.
no, I mean
Uh,
I'm talking about as an Eagle. He never played a full season.
no,
Started every game.
no, he didn't.
Yeah. So that's that is what it is.
But he made up for it with the playoff success. He made up for it with winning in big moments. Like we'll even go back to that Houston game in 2019? Well, 2018 actually. That Houston game where he won by 2 points on a field goal. Like he went down the field and won that game for us. He threw like 375
Oh
yards
yeah,
and
that was a great game, very
like
memorable. And
like that's
Houston was good at that time
yeah,
too.
you could put that on the list as one of the more clutch performances of an Eagles quarterback ever. So I mean, he definitely was a guy that I loved. I could see why people didn't like him because he took credit away from Carson Wentz for getting injured. Well, that's his fault. Um, but the guy was just a winner, and I kind of wish they kept him. But I'm not the GM. We're on the Jalen Hurts, and hopefully Jalen Hurts balls out.
I think it was a perfect storm with Nick Foles. Like again, like I don't know how much that train would have lasted. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
for all the viewers out there right now, Scotty's camera's a little bit frozen. You could still hear him, but it's frozen a little bit. It's coming in and out, but it's cool. We're trying to figure out this whole like Wi-Fi deal. I might just get like connected internet. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. But you can still hear him.
Is my camera better now or no?
You're going in and out, so you'll be
All right.
frozen 1 second, and then the next second you won't be. But we can still hear you, so that's cool. But yeah. So we got a message from Golden Eagle. Dan Cilio show, get on talk Jacob Sports about. No, I mean here's the thing with Dan Cilio. I think he's a bait machine. I think he's someone that talks crap about the Eagles. I don't think he really means what he says. He's a person that loves clickbait. Do I think he's a bad guy? No. He played for the Miami Hurricanes. He was a good player, not a great player, a good player. I just don't think he should be talking about the Philadelphia Eagles as his main sort of source of focus. I
Yeah,
mean,
he's like way too much all the time. He's very,
yeah,
very negative. He's very old school and not in a good way. I like some of his takes in the beginning of the video, and then he just goes to another place, like totally over the line. And it's like,
Mhm.
dude, like, you know what I mean?
Mhm. No, I totally know what you mean. He tried to get AJ Brown kicked off the Eagles, and they signed him to an extension, so they don't value him at all. If that pretty
Mm.
much goes to show you their stance on it. But anyway, yeah, we all hope that Jalen Hurts does a great job here. We hope he wins many Super Bowls here, not just one. But at the end of the day, he needs to get his act together. He needs to find what he had in 2022, play with it consistently, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, my final thought on that is like I don't think he had a bad year last year at all. Again, he made the Pro Bowl for whatever's that's worth. And the entire team collapsed, so it was hard to say, yeah, he's the leader and the quarterback, but literally the entire team wasn't playing well. It'd be different if he was the only one that didn't play well. So it's
Yeah,
hard to dissect and really judge him. Like this, it will be the year that we judge him for sure. And
for
I don't
sure.
agree with Kyle. I don't think he sucked last year at all. But
All right, so I'll come to the middle with you. I'll say he was below average.
I think he was average. Like if you put like okay, so I think he was good for 11 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever. And then he was like almost terrible the last 7. So I
Mhm.
think if you put them together, I mean, you could say below average. I would just go average for the entire season.
All right, fair enough. Moving on. What do we got?
So you wanted to talk about Kellen Moore waiting in the wings for a potential head coach position.
Hmm.
Now, did you mean here or elsewhere? Because I remember we talked about last week, and we've always said, all right, we're gonna Jamar, he made the Pro Bowl as an alternate. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
in the
that's
fla- in
true.
the football flag games, who gives a shit?
Okay, but like there's 16 quarterbacks in the NFC, and like I'm just saying he was one of them. So he can't like suck if he was at the Pro Bowl. You
Guys.
know
All
what I
right, so
mean?
I'm
Like
gonna
that doesn't
stop. I'm gonna stop, guys. I'm gonna stop this right now. All right, we're not doing this year. We're not doing this with the quarterback. We're not gonna have some blind goggles on when it comes to the quarterback. He wasn't good enough last year. He just wasn't. All right, you could say he was a Pro Bowler. The fans vote on the Pro Bowl. They liked him from what he was in 2022. They
no,
still remember
no,
it
it's
because it
not
was
just the
only a year
fans.
before.
It's not just the fans that vote for the Pro Bowl.
Oh,
It's the
110%.
players.
It's just the fans.
Well, that's not what they say. They say it's fans, coaches, and players. So
I'm just saying right now, I'm not doing this year. I'm not doing this blind faith in a quarterback when he doesn't show anything. He needs to show me that he could use his legs again. He didn't use his legs last year,
he
which made
didn't
his
show you
game.
that in the build. He didn't show you that in the Bills game.
It was a wide open lane to the end zone. It was like wide open. Like I could have ran through that gap. Like it was this big.
I
It's
don't know
like
what that means though. He still made the play. Like he
sure,
was
sure. He
clutch.
ran
Like
he
he
ran
came through.
25 yards to the end zone. I'll give him credit. That's fine. But at the end of the day, he needs to do it consistently. He needs to use his legs consistently because that's what we're paying him for. We're not paying him to be a pocket passer because he's not a pocket passer. He throws the ball in the pocket when people think he's going to run because he has a wide open target down the field. He's not a pure pocket passer. He's just like Carson Wentz in that aspect. Carson Wentz
But
couldn't be Carson
he
Wentz couldn't
made
be a
some
pocket passer because he had to use
he
his legs.
made
Couldn't use his
some
legs anymore.
he made some great throws last year though. You have to admit.
I would say great. I would say that the player was there. He made the throw. I wouldn't say it was great.
No, there was. I think you need to go back and watch some film. Those throws
I
to
will.
AJ Brown. He threw the ball down the field probably more than ever.
Yeah, but he's also throwing to AJ Brown. AJ Brown is a top 5 wide receiver in the National Football League.
I mean, I'll give you that, but I mean, for all the controversy last year, them not picking up the blitz, like that's not his fault. Okay, if you got all these blitzes coming at you, how's that your fault? That's the
It's
coaching.
definitely your fault because you need to know where you're at on the field. When you can't read blitzes so consistently and see the open guy down the field. I might want to remind you guys, When someone blitzes the quarterback, there's always going to be a player wide open. You have to find that player down the field, and Jalen Hurts can't do it.
No, you don't find when someone's blitzing you, it has to be a slant right in front of you. You're not gonna you
Correct.
can't it's impossible. Well, they didn't get there was no of those easy throws. They weren't designed. They didn't run that for when there was a blitz. And that's
That's
coaching.
like
He
the
can't tell
easiest.
the
That's the
he can't tell the
easiest.
coach what play to call.
That's the easiest play to pick up on. When you're a smart quarterback, that's an easiest play to pick up on. Oh, he was
It
being
depends
sarcastic. He
time.
said thank you.
It really depends.
He said thank you. The dude had one good season. Stop defending him. Like, listen, I'm not a Jalen Hurts basher. I call it how I see it with any athlete in the city. It could be any sport. He was not good enough last year. He just wasn't. And that's just how it is. He needs to be better.
What I mean, like, okay, when's the last time we had a quarterback that led us to 3 playoffs in a row? Like, I don't even know,
Oh my
right?
God. Scott, are we doing this? Are we doing this?
Seriously, like I don't know what like again, I hate how season ended, but I'm not gonna ignore the facts and what happened.
Okay,
You can be on both sides of the fence.
the first season we got in as a seventh seed. I don't count the seventh seed. The seventh seed is garbage. It should never be a thing. We got in as a seventh seed. We didn't even pass half field against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Probably twice we did. Like he was abysmal. Then 2022, great. I'll give him credit. Got to the Super Bowl. He was great. 2023,
Great. He was like all time good. He
okay.
was amazing.
Okay, Nick Foles' QBR is still better. 2023, same place, Tampa Bay, nine
And Nick
points.
Foles never played a full season.
Oh, come on, stop with that.
He didn't. I like Nick Foles. I'm just saying he never played 16 games with the Eagles.
I get it, but like at the end of the day, he got the job done, and Jalen Hurts
Of
needs to get the job
course.
done. No
Of course,
leadership, no
and
championship.
Jalen went to the Super Bowl in his second year as a full-time starter with the Eagles.
Yeah, and that's fine. We had a great team. I give him all the credit in the world. We have an even better team on paper this year, so we'll see what he does. But moving on, Kellen Moore, head coach in the Wings. I think it's an obvious. I think if Nick Sirianni has a bad year this year, they're going to give the keys to Kellen Moore. I honestly think they're going to give the keys to Kellen Moore regardless. I think this is Nick Sirianni's last year as head football coach. I really do. What do you think?
Again, I have no idea how that's gonna work. I think if that does happen, it's gonna be very like out of the norm because we talked about this in previous weeks. If Sirianni does well, how do you fire him? But if the team doesn't do well, is it Kellen Moore or Nick Sirianni's fault? Or if the offense is great and the defense isn't great, like it's like who are you holding responsible?
Yeah.
Like this is why me and you agreed that unfortunately, just because of all these circumstances, and you can't have Nick Sirianni, an offensive coach, run his own offense.
Yeah.
Like he probably should have not been back. Again, me, I will literally put more blame on Nick Sirianni than Jalen Hurts in all of last season. Like, do you not agree with that or no?
Repeat that one more time. I was reading this comment. I'm sorry.
I put more blame on Sirianni for last season than Jalen Hurts 100%.
It's a combination of both. I think some of the play calling down the stretch was abysmal, but at the same time, Jalen Hurts wasn't executing any of the play calls. So I'll put the blame on both a little bit. I don't think it's one. I think when a player's getting paid $50 million a year, he has to have some of the blame. I'm sorry. That's a lot of money, and you need to. If you don't see something right down the field, you have to call an audible, especially making that much money. And he
Okay,
just
all right. So, yes, but honestly, you could make the case Jalen Hurts is still a young player. Jalen Hurts had Brian Johnson to talk to. Patrick Mahomes has Andy Reid.
yeah.
Okay, so like that's night and day, right? Like
Uh,
coaching matters, especially for quarterbacks in their 20s. It matters.
Well, that's another problem you're bringing up. I mean, he has so many voices to listen to. He doesn't have one. He has the head coach. He had Brian Johnson. He had Shane Steichen. He had all these guys, and now he has Kellen Moore, who coached for the Cowboys, coached for the Chargers, pretty much ran two different offenses. Now he's running another one. Jalen Hurts said it's 95% different. Howard Eskin debunked that. He said it's like 20% different. So I don't know where to go with this team right now. Honestly, I just want to see it come out on the field. But for right now, I don't. I like I said, I don't like what I'm hearing on the news front from the insiders. I just
I
don't.
just think
But
I think it's being a little overblown. It's literally June. It's
mhm,
mini camps. Like
mhm.
we will find out more in training camp, and that's when I will really get a feel for all of this stuff. Again, I don't know. Jalen's personality, I keep hearing just like he's so hard to read. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
like McNabb.
who I mean, yeah, but McNabb, I guess, just had more like goofiness or whatever you want to say.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Like I'm not, and who knows who actually knows what Jalen meant by what he said. Again, you'd think he would be smartened up by like his PR team or the Eagles or his own brand team, like whatever.
Mhm.
And let's see if he makes that mistake again. Like if he says something similar again, then that tells us what we need to know. But I mean, I don't think he's not gonna make that same mistake again.
I mean, we hope. I hope not. I mean, listen, no one loves the Eagles more than you and I both. I'm sure there's a ton of people out there that love them on the level, but we literally make a show because we ran about them every week in fucking June. It's not even close to the season, and we have to get some hostileness out there because we don't know what the fuck's going on in June. So it's like I don't know. This team just makes my blood boil, and I think 2023 in a way was actually bad for this team because I look
Well,
back at that.
of course it was bad. They lost 6 out of 7 or whatever it was
No, 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 not 2023, 2022. I'm sorry. I think 2022 was bad for this team. And
because they
reason
overachieved.
they overachieved, they had an easy schedule. They walked into the Super Bowl, almost won the Super Bowl, and then we got gutted by losing. It's not like we won the Super Bowl. Both our offensive and defensive coordinators got head coaching gigs, and we didn't win that game. And we were stuck with shit. Like we always say, they started 10-1, then they looked like the worst team in the league. Now we don't know what the hell's happening. We have an old school defensive coordinator and Vic Fangio. His style probably doesn't even work anymore. Kellen
No,
Moore,
I don't agree. I mean, you have to give these people a chance.
I
You
will
know what
listen.
I mean?
I know I'm freaking out a little
Like
bit, and it's
you're judging like without knowing like you're like his style probably doesn't work anymore. Like how do you know that? We don't know that.
because it's an offensive league and people like him don't adjust. They're old school, and to me, you
I
have
mean,
to
we do
adjust.
know the Dolphins players didn't like him last year or whatever happened there, right?
Yeah, right. It's like
But
like we said last week. Are we disagreeing that Kansas City's probably going to win again? Like we both
well, that's what I'm
agree
saying. So how could 2020 be bad for them if they almost beat the Chiefs? Like that's crazy,
because we
right?
got gutted. If we didn't get gutted and we kept the same coordinators, we would have been fine. Like that's my point. You know,
But if we would have had Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio last year, you don't think we would have made it another deep playoff run?
I don't know. I mean, I have no clue because was Jalen
Well,
Hurts
apparently we
hurt?
had the worst coordinators like ever last year. That's pretty
I
much what
don't.
Brandon Graham said.
I don't.
That's pretty much what they all said.
I do not think they were as bad as people think they were. I don't. I mean,
Really, really.
I don't believe that because you don't start a season 10-1 with bad
Yeah,
coordinators.
but even you said it yourself. We know they're just getting lucky, or like this isn't really a good team. They're barely winning
No,
those
and I
games.
understand that, but teams like the Raiders don't get lucky like that. Teams like the Bears don't get lucky like that. Like, how do we just fall into 10 wins with really bad coordinators? Like, it just doesn't
I
happen.
don't know. I feel like sometimes you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. I don't know because I
Because
agree
I
with
don't,
that.
dude. I have no which way. I have no which way to go. I don't know what to expect. This is the first time as an Eagles fan I'm going in blind. I have no idea what to expect. I don't know what to believe. I don't know what I'm seeing. I have no idea. Usually growing up, I would think. that the Eagles had as good as chances of anyone as winning the Super Bowl. This year, it's either Super Bowl or
Or
miss the
bust.
playoffs completely.
Well,
Exactly.
and you want to know why?
Why?
Because we've never had a lame duck head coach.
Mm-hmm. Mm, mm.
Who? Who?
I mean, I wasn't around for
What?
him, but
No, I'm saying
the guy.
since we've started watching.
Oh, I mean, like Chip Kelly was pretty bad towards the end.
No, I'm saying
Um,
lame duck where it's like someone else on the coaching staff has more power or more say than the head coach.
yeah,
Like
yeah, you're
we've
right.
never not looked at the head coach and be like, all right, he's in charge, you
Yeah,
know?
you're right. You're right.
So I think that is the weird ass dynamic. And everything we've seen, heard so far is that Kellen Moore is 100% in charge of the offense.
Yeah, and it's like,
100%.
yeah, but you know what the problem with that is? We're slowly turning into the Cowboys, and I don't like it. Everyone knows that McCarthy, he's a good coach, but he's a puppet. Everything that he does, Jerry Jones runs through him. Like everything. That's the only reason why he still has a job after last year, is because he's a yes man. It's the same thing with Nick Sirianni. The owner and the GM get the last say, and Nick Sirianni is
Yeah, but
completely
like
fine with that.
again, that can't be looked at as a bad thing because they have 2 Super Bowl appearances on their resume. Cowboys have none in that 8-10 years. It's time span.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
I
like, how can we
understand.
really say
See,
that
all
it's
right, so
their how can
so
we say that their approach is bad if they've had success?
so I really don't want to do this, but I'm going to give the Cowboys a little bit of credit. Although they don't have an NFC Championship game since 1996, although they don't have a Super Bowl appearance since 1996, they're consistently there in the regular season. There are times where we either go on a run or we just don't look great enough to do anything, but we sneak into the playoffs because of that stupid 7 seed. There's times where I can tell this team doesn't have it in week 3. The Cowboys, the last 15 years, bar an injury, I always thought they were getting to the playoffs. I don't think
Okay,
this
but
every
who
single year with this
cares?
team.
Who cares if we both lose in the first round? So you just want to have a fun season and be talked about? Like
The
it
thing is,
doesn't
no,
really
but
matter.
the thing is, you have that shot though. Like we all
But
know
they
it's
okay,
we all know it's fool's gold. We all know it. But you're in the playoffs, you have a shot. And they're in consistent contention every single year. We have those fall off
I
years
mean,
where
so are we. So are we the past two, like at least the past 2 years. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
but who the hell wins the Super Bowl and then fires their head coach after 3 years when you're supposed to have a 5-year window as a Super Bowl winning head coach?
No,
Who the hell?
I mean, I agree. That was very strange. And
Yeah,
it's because of the quarterback situation that got him fired.
yeah. No, it really was. And
And
it's not his fault. He's gonna put the best player on the field at that time. And at that time, Jalen Hurts was the best player on that field.
but again, we can't really say it was bad because they made a Super Bowl with the new head coach that they hired. You know
That's
what I mean? If
fine.
they would have
Yeah, but all right, like here's the
so
thing,
in
and I
the end
keep
of at the end of the day, the only result that would have been better is Doug would have had to stay and win another Super Bowl. Now, for the legacy of Doug and
he almost
longevity and
did.
all that stuff,
But he almost
what?
did. He almost did.
What, Doug?
If Alshon Jeffrey didn't drop that ball, we would have Super Bowl championship number 2. We would.
Yeah, but again, if that wasn't even the NFC title game. I mean, I get what you're saying. Like it's a
It
lot
in
of
essence, it
ifs.
in essence was because the team we were facing was the number 1 seed in the playoffs, and we already
Who, the
beat the
Saints?
Rams. Yeah, we already beat the Rams.
Was the Saints or the Rams number 1 seed that year? Can't
The
remember.
Saints, the Saints were the number 1 seed that year because we were the lowest seed. We
Yeah, I
had to
mean,
go to
I
Chicago.
agree. I think they would have had a great shot. But like again, like I wouldn't say that like he almost made the Super Bowl because he still would have win an NFC title game as well.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I think he would have done
again,
it.
I just don't. Again, I wish Doug didn't get fired either. Again, I love longevity. I want records and Hall of Fames, and I'm obsessed with all that. You know that I love fucking nostalgia, and I want to be the best at everything. I want to have the best quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs. Like I want that for this team. but I'm not going to say that they were wrong with, unfortunately letting Doug go, because they made another Super Bowl 2 years after they did it
Yep.
with a random fucking coach that no one ever heard of before.
Not only a
You
random
know what I
coach, a cocky coach who everyone loved. You know, it's like he was the pure definition of Philly, the way he acted.
who,
And that's what.
Doug?
Yeah, no, Sirianni.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
you.
I guess I never really thought of him in that way. I think he's another one where it's like you never know what you're gonna get. So, I
Mhm.
mean, some days he's humble, some days he's having fun. Like I can't really read him. The only thing I could read him last year when he had them damn black circles under his eyes during that losing streak,
Yeah.
and literally it's like he did nothing for 6 weeks, like literally nothing. I'm like, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall during those practices, and like, what actually were you doing to change anything to make the team better?
No, and I was like one of the biggest fans of Nick Sirianni when he was winning because I loved how people around the league hated the way he acted. Like I love that. When you're winning and you're cocky, it's like a double whammy for other teams. He's throwing it in your face while he's destroying you. And that's what I loved. But you can't act like that when we're losing, and that's the problem. So you can't have it both ways like that. And I kind of wish that they do start winning because I would like to see Nick Sirianni be cocky again because it was fun. But I
Yeah,
don't
that's
know.
an interesting question. And then I want to get to Jamar's comment. How
hmm
do we make Nick Sirianni likable again?
hmm
How do
Very
we how
easy.
do they do
Very easy.
that?
We win.
Just
We win.
But
That's
then
it.
isn't Kellen Moore gonna like get a lot of credit?
In my honest opinion, I think we both know that Kellen Moore's running the offense, but in my honest opinion, you got to give
So
the
then
credit to Nick.
why would that make Nick Sirianni more likable? It's gonna make Kellen Moore more likable, is it not? Kyle?
All right. All right. Sorry about
Kyle,
that, guys.
you there?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. So a call was coming in on my end. It had nothing to do with the Wi-Fi at all.
Oh
Um,
god. So what I was saying was, if they win, wouldn't that make Kellen Moore more likable if the offense does well? Like, why would that make Nick Sirianni more likable?
because people don't look at the offensive coordinator and give him all the credit. I mean, he could realistically, you could look at it like that, but at the end of the day, he's not the head coach. So people will be willing to give Nick Sirianni all the credit just because he's in that role. I think
But
that's my
now
honest opinion.
that Yeah, but now that we know Shane Steichen, what people are too.
Yeah.
Um, Frank Reich also became a head coach, Doug Peterson. So I feel like the fans are a little bit smartened up to know, okay, well, we need good coordinators to be good under Nick
Right.
Sirianni.
hmm Yeah. I mean, I think that that's the way of the land in the NFL nowadays, unless you have a coach like Andy Reid who can switch from Eric Bieniemy and add any
Yeah.
Joe Schmo in there and win.
Bill Belichick all those years, you know.
Yep. Yep, pretty much. So they're trying to find a new Jonathan Gannon and Shane Steichen duo, which it's going to be kind of tough because those were new ideas. Those were new coaches. Like no one knew their schemes. These guys
Hmm.
have been around. Like Helen Moore's been around. Vic Fangio has been around. So you could like slice and dice it. So it's a little bit different in my opinion. But to their credit, I don't dislike what Kellen Moore brings, especially with all the tools he has to work with on this team. And Vic Fangio has been there before. So there's definitely a plus to that. There's definitely pros and cons, but I'll be willing to ride with the pros as long as it's working.
Absolutely. And I want to get to Jamar, a couple of your comments. Before this one, you were talking about Mahomes and Reed, and you were like, Reed didn't win shit before Mahomes got there, let's be honest. Um, yeah, he never went to the Super Bowl until Mahomes got there either. But like, we can't kid ourselves, like Kyle was just saying about Andy Reid switching from Eric Bieniemy. Like, I don't like you need to win 3 Super Bowls. Has it been 3 now, right?
Yep. So they won
You
against San Fran. They won
you
against San
to
Fran
win
again.
that
Yeah.
many, you have to have a great head coach as well. You can get
Mhm.
away with maybe one, just the quarterback, but I mean, yeah, Joe Montana and Brady, but like there needed to be another piece. Like, it has to be a team effort to win 3. Would you
Mhm.
agree, or it's just all the quarterback?
I don't think it's all the quarterback. I think it's a combination of both.
To win
And
that many, like that's
so
.
so Andy Reid is one of those coaches where he was never going to find success until he won his first championship. And this is what I said after he won his first one, because the first one's always the hardest one to win. After that, there's not as much pressure on you. You can
And you
start.
get more confidence, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you get more confidence in your play call and you get more confidence in your game management. The thing that held him back was the fact that he never had that Vince Lombardi trophy. So he was probably thinking different things that he wouldn't normally think in order to get him over the top. And the only reason why he won that first Super Bowl is because San Fran choked it away. They were actually down 10 with 6 minutes to go. And that was during 2020. It was in Miami, actually. I remember because I bet on the 49ers. And they were down 10 points with 6 minutes to go. Tyreek Hill catches an open field pass. They limit it to 3 points, and then they kick a field goal, and then they win the game after that. So,
49ers fans must hate the Chiefs to lose to them twice in the
yep.
Super Bowl within like what 5-7 years, whatever it is. Like, that's rough. That's definitely rough.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be shocked if Andy Reid came into that 6-7 territory by the time his tenure ended. Like, I wouldn't be shocked because it's
Wait, six,
easier.
seven, what? Sorry, I think you
Champ
might have cut out 6-7 what?
six,
Oh,
seven championships.
championships, Super
Yeah.
Bowls. You're saying Super Bowls?
Yeah, I could see it.
Wow. I mean, that would make him the greatest head coach of all time.
Well, he already has four if you're counting the Green Bay Packers ring. So,
No. What? No, it's only what? No, it's only head coach Super Bowls. Get out of here. Talking about.
mhm. But
And then I
yeah, I
think
mean,
his other
it's
comment, what was his other comment?
they were wrong to let Dougie P go.
He had another one. It was
Uh,
something oh yeah.
there's a difference in those Super Bowl appearances. We made the Super Bowl because of Doug in 2017. We made the Super Bowl in 2022 in spite of Nick. I
I
mean,
would say I would say Foles in 17, like he was just playing on fire, like ungodly in that playoff run. So I don't
yeah, but he's
know.
also he's also not wrong though because Doug actually went back and looked at film when Chip ran with Nick Foles in that year, 2013. He went back where he had that 27-2 season,
Yeah, you're
and
right.
he
Yeah.
and he saw that he had an RPO, so he ran the same exact system that Chip ran for him, and it worked out. So in essence, if you're really looking at it, Chip should get a little bit of credit for that Super Bowl win, honestly.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah, his scheme maybe, but all right, moving on to the second part of what he said. They won 22 in spite of Nick. All right, so basically you're giving all the credit to Shane Steichen and Hurts and whatever. So
Mhm.
that goes back to my point about this year. Kellen Moore is going to get all the credit. Like, oh, why wouldn't that be the same narrative, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I just think Kellen Moore, he's young. He's what, 36 years old. He's very young to coach in the NFL.
So was Shane Steichen.
Yeah, I just think when it comes down to it, all the camera's going to be on Nick Sirianni a lot more than Kellen Moore. If Nick Sirianni goes back to his cocky ways and we're winning, he's just going to get all the credit. No matter who you really think it is, he's going to have all eyes on him. He's going to get the credit. Jalen Hurts is going to get credit. And in my honest opinion, the only way that an offensive coordinator gets credit is if it's so obvious it's because of him that even the stupidest fan knows that it's Kellen Moore. That's the only way that he gets more credit than Nick Sirianni, in my opinion.
Now, also another side question. It's kind of the age of former players being head coaches, like we said, Frank Reich, Dan Campbell. Well, now Frank Reich's not, he's not a coach anymore, but Dan Campbell, um, who else? I'm just thinking of another one. Kellen Moore. Like, do you think that a locker room has more respect for a coach if they're a former player? Now we know Sirianni played in, I think he played in college. I know his dad was a head coach. Like, is there any merit to that? Like that they want a D'Amico Ryans? Is there any merit where
No,
they want a player head coach that was a former
no,
player?
no, because I'll go to a different sport for a second. Eric Spoelstra on the Miami Heat. He was a video.
Football is a totally different game,
No,
though.
yeah, but it's the same concept when you're going with play calling, you're going with what works. And when it comes to systems, when it comes to play calling, I don't think the players really care. They just want the best ideas out there that work, that makes their job easier. I don't think they really look at it like, oh, this guy was a player, let's listen to him. This guy wasn't a player, let's not listen to him. I don't think it really works like that. They just want the easiest path to do their job possible. And I
I
just
don't know
don't.
because I think being a player, it's more relatable and they know exactly what you're going through and they've seen everything. So I think like from like likability standpoint and relatability, having things in common,
Mhm.
they would just like a former player. As I don't know, that's just my opinion, but I don't think it matters like as far as winning goes.
Mhm.
But as far as like a culture or locker room, like everyone can relate. Like we literally have both been playing football since we were in diapers. So it's like you have, I don't know. I just think there's a bigger relatability there. Someone that actually played in the NFL being in charge of a franchise. I just think that's the future, in my opinion, too.
I mean, you always go back to the whole CTE thing. Do you really want a head coach that could possibly have brain problems running your organization? I mean, I just don't. I don't view it
I
like
mean,
that.
again, it's been pretty successful for Dan Campbell so far, and then D'Amico Ryan's in his first year. So
Yeah, D'Amico Ryan's is a beast, man. But they also have a guy named C.J. Stroud, so there's that too.
again, I think you have to give football is a team sport, so you really have to.
Yeah, but come on, bro. Like the Texans had so many quarterbacks come in and out of there. He makes it look easy for a franchise that
Yeah,
does
but they
nothing.
also went from a old in the tooth Lovey Smith to a brand new first time head coach with a lot of energy and passion in D'Amico
Hey, don't
Ryan.
be talking about Lovey Smith. He got to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman.
Well, I'm saying, but like I said, old in the tooth, like he's done. You
Yep.
know, like that's what I mean. Yeah, if it was Lovey Smith of 12 years ago, but
I got a little bone to pick with Owen High. Steve Kerr for the Golden State Warriors was a player and a coach and one of the best. I mean, it's easy to be one of the best head coaches when you have a 73 win roster built and then you bring in Kevin Durant on top of that. I mean, does he really have to coach at that point? Like, I think that's a poor example, but hey, to each their own. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see, buddy. I have no idea, but we are getting to that time. I know you have a lot of stuff to do today, so I'm gonna let you go. Uh, Next week, guys, I will be in Vegas. I'm going for a couple poker tournaments. I'm gonna participate in. Wish me luck. I'm going there with my buddies are coming in on Thursday. I'm going out on Tuesday. We're gonna do a short show. It's gonna be cut in half next week. We do an hour to hour and a half. It's gonna be like 30 to 40 minutes next week. We'll touch on the topics very quickly. Um, and yeah, so just join us next week. I'll be broadcasting from my room in Vegas, maybe even the pool from Vegas. Who knows? Depends on my mood. But definitely join us. We'll be here every single Friday. The only week we will not be here is July 4th weekend. Other than that, we're here every single Friday, and hopefully you guys enjoy us. And we're gonna be here for you guys every Friday, other than 4th of July, obviously.
absolutely, this was a great show. Obviously, a little bit shorter than we normally do, but we got a lot in. Obviously, the biggest news right now is Hurts, and again, like we said, the season is a mystery, but that's what makes it fun, and it's just going to keep unfolding until we reach Brazil Friday night, week 1.
Absolutely, and I don't know if we're gonna watch that game together or whatnot. I definitely want to try to get down to New Orleans. I've never been there. I think that's week 3 or 4.
Yeah, that
But
would be
that pe-
awesome. I've never been. Always wanted to go to New Orleans.
yeah, we should try to book that. But the Peacock game on Friday, that could be interesting. Maybe I'll have like a little post game. I won't drink, guys. I'm not drinking after games this time, so I'm not gonna do that.
I don't want to hold you to that. I'm not.
Yeah,
Yeah, it might be a little bit of a high standard, right? It's a
yeah, a little
goal.
bit.
It's a goal to have, right?
Yeah, and plus week one. I mean, I don't really get flustered after week one losses, so I don't really know what a team is until after week three, maybe week four.
For
So
sure.
I probably won't like be mad regardless. But to each their own. We'll see what happens. And
All right, guys. This was an awesome show. Hope you have a great weekend.
all right, go Birds, guys. See you guys next week. Peace.